We continue now at the top of Daf Samech Zayin Amud Beis in Mesechet Kesubos. This is Kesubos Daf. The Gemara here continues. Let's say you have an orphan boy and an orphan girl. Shebo linase. They come in front of us and they need to get married. They need help from the tzedakah. Masiyanas hayasoma v'yachakach masiyanas hayasam. First we marry off the girl, then we marry off the boy. Mipnei shabushta shal isha meruba mishalish. Because the embarrassment of the woman is more than the embarrassment of the man in terms of being not married. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tanu Rabban and the rabbis taught Yosam Shabo Lisa Sochen Lo Bayis Umitzian Lo Mita V'chol Klei Tashmisho. So let's say an orphan boy comes to be married. So then we want to prepare him. So we're supposed to use the charity funds and we rent for him a house. We prepare a bed for him. We give him all the vessels that he needs. V'yachakach Masian Loish. And then we find a wife for him to marry. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Dei machsoru asher yechsar lo. You have to fill in that which he's missing. Dei machsoru. What does each term in the pasuk mean? Dei machsoru is a habayis, that refers to the house. Asher yechsar is a mita v'shulchan. Asher yechsar refers to providing him with a bed and a table. And lo, the word lo means zuisha, that refers to a wife. V'chein hu omer, and it says likewise in the pasuk, eso lo ezer kenegdo. It uses the word lo when it talks about finding man a wife. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Dei machsoro. It says again, you have to give him that which he is missing. Atam mitzuva olav leparnaso. You have to support him. V'atam mitzuva olav laashro. But you don't have to make him wealthy. Asher yachsar lo. But that which he is missing, meaning you have to give him that which he is accustomed to. Afilu sus lirchov olav. Even a horse if he's accustomed to riding upon it. V'yeved loretz lefanav, and a servant to run in front of him. Amru olav al Hillel hazaken. They said about Hillel the elder, shalokach lo'ani ben tovim, that he purchased once for an ani who came from noble descent, echad, from one particular one, sus lirchov olav v'yeved loretz lefanav. He bought for this particular ani of noble descent, he bought for him a horse to ride on and a servant to run in front of him. Pamachas lo motza eved loretz lefanav. One time he wasn't able to find an eved to run in front of him. V'ratz lefanav shlosha milan, and so Hillel himself ran in front of this individual 3 milan. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tanu Rabban and the rabbis taught, Maisa ba'anshe Galil ha'elyon. There was an incident with the people who lived in the upper Galil, Shalachu l'ani ben tovim echad, that they bought for a particular ani of noble descent, mitzipore, from Tzipore, litra basar b'chol yom, a litra of meat every single day. And the Gemara says, litra basar my rivusa. What's the big deal to get a litra of meat every single day? Amar Ravuna says, no, it was litra basar mishalofos. This was a litra of meat, but it was a meat from birds, from fowl, and that's already more expensive, and that's why it was a chiddush. Viba Yisayman, if you want, I could say another answer. Belitra basar mamish. We're talking about with a litra of coins they bought the basar. And the Gemara, and that would be a lot of meat again, and that would be a chiddush. And the Gemara continues. Rav Ashi says, "Hasam kfar katan haya." No, the case over there was it was a small village, and so therefore there weren't very many people to feed the meat. And b'chol yoma have a mifsed yichayusam tulase, and every single day they had to lose an entire animal just for this guy because they would shech the animal. They really wouldn't have, the animal would be too much to provide for everybody, but yet they would shech the animal just on this person's behalf. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Sahuda asa l'kamid Reb Nechemya. There was an individual who came before Ibn Nechemya. Amar lei said to him, what are you accustomed, what do you generally eat? Because again, he wanted to provide him from the charity. So what are you used to? Amar lei said to him, he said, I'm accustomed to having fatty meat and old wine. So Ibn Nechemya said, well, do you want to come down and descend with me and have just lentils? I eat lentils and you can eat with me. So Gilgalimo Badashim, so that's exactly what he did. He descended, so to speak, and he ate lentils, Vames, and he died because he wasn't accustomed to it. Amar Nechemya said, Oy lo lazeh shahargo Nechemya. Woe is to this person that Nechemya has been killed by him. And the Gemara says, what do you mean? Adarab, on the contrary, Nechemya should have said, Oy lo Nechemya, woe is to Nechemya, shahargo lazeh, that killed this person. Mi boile. That's what Nechemya should have said. Ella rather, Iu hu deloi boile lefanuke naavshe kuliha. I know what he meant to say was, Nechemya was saying, woe is to this person that he made himself so delicate that he can't even survive by eating lentils. And the Gemara continues, there was an individual who came before Rava. Amar lo, he said to him, what are you accustomed to eating? Amar lo, he said to him, betarnagolas petuma, with a chicken that is fatty, v'yayin yashan, and old wine. Amar lo, he said to him, aren't you concerned over here that you're putting pressure on the community to support you? Amar lo, he said to him, do you think I'm eating from them? It's God that's providing for me. The Tanina, as we learned, it says that everyone turns to you, God, and you, God, provide bi'ito in its proper time their food. Bi'itam lo nemar ela bi'ito. It doesn't say in their time, but it says in his time. And what does that mean? Melamed, that teaches us shekol echad ve'echad, that each individual knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu parnasaso b'ito. God gives him his parnasa in its proper time, the proper, appropriate parnasa for that individual. In the meantime, the sister of Rava came to Lesri and Shani. She hadn't seen him for 13 years. And she brought him a chicken that was fatty, and she brought him old wine, exactly what this ani said he's accustomed to. Amar Maidekamo, he said, what is that that's coming before me? Amar Lei said to him, Na nesi loch komechel. He says, I'm answering you properly here. Eat what it is that came before us. In other words, he took it as a sign. This food must have come not for him. Rava wasn't accustomed to eating this. Rather, it was coming on behalf of this individual who came before Rava. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Ein lo ve'eno rotze le'esparnes. Let's say a person doesn't have money, but he doesn't want to take money from charity. Nosnin lo l'shum halva. We give him the money as a loan. V'chozrin v'nosnin lo l'shum atana. But then we go ahead and we turn it into a gift, and we don't collect, we don't make him pay back. Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's Rabbi Meir's opinion. The Chachamim say nosnin lo l'shum matana. No, first we give it to him as a gift. V'chozrin v'nosnin lo l'shum halva. But then we go and we turn it into a loan, and we do collect. And the Gemara says l'shum matana. 1 second. According to the Chachamim, first we give it as a gift. Halo shakel, but he doesn't want to take a gift. And the Gemara says Amar Rava. Rava says liftoach lo l'shum matana. No, it means to say that we open when we initially try to give it. We tell him that it's going to be a gift. If he refuses, then we give it as a loan. And the Gemara continues, Yeshlo ve'eno rotze le'esparnes. Now let's say he has money, but he doesn't want to use that money, rather he wants the charity. So nosnin lo l'shum matana. So in that case we say that we give it to him initially as a gift, the chozrin v'nefroin mimenu, but then we make him pay back. The Gemara says chozrin v'nefroin heimenu, but if we make him pay back, su lo shakel, he's never going to take it again. So what's the point of that? And so the Gemara says, Amar Rav Papa says, La'achar misa. What it means to say is after he dies, we collect that money back from his estate. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Shimon says, Yesh lo ve'eno rotze le'esparnes. If he has money and he doesn't want to use his own money, he wants charity. Ein nizkakin lo. We are not obligated on his behalf. We do not have to support him. Ein lo, but let's say he doesn't have money, ve'eno rotze le'esparnes, and he does not want money from charity. Omrim lo, then we say, have mashkon, bring some kind of collateral, v'tol, and then we'll give, and then you'll take the money. Kedei shetazuach daitu, all of that will calm him down. When he brings the collateral, he won't see it as a handout. And the Gemara continues, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Haveit, the pasuk says Haveit, that we provide money for the person who needs it. Zesha ein lo ve'eno rotze le'esparnes. This refers to somebody who does not have money, but he doesn't want to take charity. Shenosnim lo l'shum halva. We give the money to him as a loan. V'chozrin v'nosnim lo l'shum matana. But then we go ahead and we give it to him as a gift. We don't make him pay back. Tavitenu, the pasuk then says Haveit tavitenu. Zesha yeshlo. That refers to somebody who has money. Ve'eno rotze le'esparnes, but he doesn't want to use his own money. He wants to get charity. Shenosnim lo l'shum matana. Again, we give it to him initially as a gift. V'chozrin but then we collect from him after he dies. We collect from his estate. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Chachamim but the Chachamim say Yeshlo ve'eno rotze le'esparnes. If a person has money and he doesn't want to use his own money, he wants charity. Ein nizkakin lo. We're not obligated on his behalf. We don't have to support him. Ve'elamani mekayim tavitenu. So why does the pasuk repeat and say tavitenu? Why does it say havei tavitenu? Dibra Torah koloshin b'nei adam. The pasuk just speaks the way that people speak, but we don't learn anything from that extra word. And the Gemara continues, Marukva have'anya b'shivivuse. Marukva, there was a poor person in his neighborhood. Davaragol kol yuma deshadi layarba zuzi b'tzinur the doshin. Every single day Marukva would put 4 zuz by the hinge of his door. He would give him a little money by his house. Yom echad amar, one day the poor person said, Ezelech ziman kovid be'ahu tivus. I want to go and see who's the one doing me this favor. Hahu yoma nagale leMarukva levei midrasha. That day Marukva was a little late to the beis medrash. Asya devisu bahadei, and his wife came along with him. Kevin dechaziyua dekamatzli leiladosh, and now the poor person saw that somebody was by the door. Nafak basrayo, they came out to see who it was. Rot mikamei, and so they ran away so that the poor person would not be able to identify them. Aili lahu asuna to have a grufa nura have a kamekalium kare de Marukva. So they ran in and they hid by a certain furnace. It was swept out, but there was a little heat there, and the heat was singeing the leg of Marukva. Amrle devisu, so his wife said to him, meaning Marukva's wife said to him, Shakal kare choseva kare, take your leg and put it on my leg. My leg is being protected, yours is not, I'll protect you. So Chalash daite, so then Marukva became a little depressed, because he said, it seems to be that my wife has a greater zechus than me. She's being protected from the fire, and I am not. Amrle, she said to him, she said, don't be depressed about it. The reason why it's protecting me is because I'm in the house, and therefore when I give something to the poor, I give food, and therefore they get benefit immediately. But when you give them money, that's not an immediate benefit. They still have to go and find the food. And the Gemara continues, Umay kuli hai, why do they go to such an extent that the poor person should not be able to identify them? Because Marzutra bar Tuvia said that Rav said, V'amri, and some have the version, Amar Rav Huna bar Bizna, Amar Rav Shimon Chasida. Some say it was Rav Huna bar Bizna said that Rav Shimon bar Chasida said, V'amri Amar Rav Yochanan, Misham Rav Shimon ben Yochai, and some people say that it's Rav Yochanan said in the name of Rav Shimon bar Yochai, Noach lo la'adam she'im sar atzmo l'soch kivshan o'esh, it is better for a person to give himself over into a furnace, V'al yalbin p'nei chaveiro b'ravim, and not humiliate his friend publicly. Minolan, how do we know that? Mitamar, we know that from Tamar Dechsiv, like it says, he mutseis, she was being taken out, she was being taken out to be burned, and she did not want to embarrass Yehuda. And the Gemara continues, Marukva havanya b'shivivusei, Marukva again, there was a poor person in his neighborhood, that every Erev Yom Kippur, he used to give him 400 zuz as charity. Yom Echad, one day, Shadrino Nehli Biad Berei, he sent the money to him in the hands of his son. Also, so the son came back, Amar Le said to him, Lo tzarech, this person doesn't even need the money. Amar Mai Chazah, so Marukva said, well, what did you see? Why do you say that? So he said, and I saw that he's just using old wine to spray and to have fragrance in his house. It seems like he does not need money when he uses the wine in this fashion. So Marukva said, Mefane kulihai, this person is so pampered. On the contrary, he needs even more money. I finu v'shadrinu nihili, he doubled the amount of money that he gave to him. Ki konicha nafshi, when Marukva was dying, Amar, he said, bring me my record of tzedakah. I want to know how much charity I gave in my lifetime. So he saw that he had given 7,000 gold dinarim to tzedakah. Amar, he said, Zavdoi Kalili, he said, my provisions are light, V'yorcha rechiktan, I have a long way to go, talking about after death, and so therefore he was saying, I didn't give enough money, Kam bizbazi lepalgei memone. So he got up and he gave half of his money to charity. And the Gemara says, Hey Chiyav Hachi, how did he do this? How could he give so much? V'yamar Rabbi Eloi, but Rabbi Eloi said, B'usha hiskinu, in Usha they instituted, Hamevazvez al yevazvez yosem echomish, if a person is going to give a lot of money, he shouldn't give more than a fifth of his money. And the Gemara says, no, Hani Mili Mechaim, that's only if he's giving it during his lifetime. Shema Yered min achasav, because maybe he'll become poor and he's going to need that money. Avalachar misa leslan ba, but if it's after the person dies, it is not an issue. And the Gemara continues at the two dots, Rabbi Abba havitzayer zuzei besudrei, Rabbi Abba, he used to put some zuz, some money, into his scarf, v'shadi leilachori, and then he would throw his scarf behind him. That's how he would distribute the charity. Umamtzi nafshi leve'anye, and he would place himself near the house of the poor, again in a way that he wouldn't be seen, in order to give the charity. Umatzli enim miramoy, but he would tilt his eyes a little bit so that he'd be able to identify any swindlers, so that he wouldn't give the money to somebody who did not deserve it. And the Gemara continues, Rabbi Chanina have awanya to have a ruggle shadure le arbazuze kol male shabsa. Rabbi Chanina, there was a particular poor person that he used to give him 4 zuz every Erev Shabbos. Yom Echad, one day Shadrino nihile biadavisu, he sent the money in the hands of his wife to this poor person. Asai, she came back. Amrle, she said to him, Lo tzarech, this person doesn't need the money. So he said, My chazis, what did you see over there that you say that? So she said, Shami, I heard the Havika'am relay that they were saying to him, Ba'me'at hasoed, what are you accustomed to eating? What's going to be your meal? And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samech Ches Amud Aleph.